Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. It is your girl Alana Simone. So if you are new to the channel, first of all, I wanted to welcome you in. If you have been here for a while, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about facing the part of yourself you refuse to heal. And so I really wanted to talk about this because, we're in a season where a lot of people are getting in relationships. Tis the season to be in a relationship. The summer is over and now we're in new relationships. Cuffing season has commenced, and all that good stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this because this is something I had to go through, and I really wanted to share to maybe help someone else who may be going through the same thing. And so what do I mean when I say facing yourself, you refuse to heal? And so what I mean by that, I remember a little over a year and a half ago, I was dating someone, and there was of course good moments in that dating scene, and then there was not so good moments, but that's just like any other relationship, right? It's no perfect relationship out here. But there was always something in me that would be maybe triggered, or something may have happened, and I'm like, okay, so I would feel some type of way. And so shortly after that relationship ended, I realized that person wasn't the person for me for many different reasons. And I realized that I could do better for myself. But what I learned afterwards, sometimes we got to go through the process afterwards. And what is that process? Really recognizing the things that we can work on and do better in the future, so that when we get into another relationship or anything like that, like, we can do better moving forward. We don't never want to stay in a place where we stay stuck. We always want to look to do better. At least I do. And so, after I got out the situation, I really sat down with myself, and even in the midst of the situation, this thing was coming up in my mind, and I'm like, okay, I realized that part of the hurt that I refuse to address, and the pain that I refuse to address when it pertains to men specifically, I refuse to heal that part of me. And so when I'm now faced with relationships that involve men, or whatever the case may be, then it's like, okay, it's always some like disconnect or something there that's always hindering me from moving forward and really going forward with the relationship. And so, I got to a point where I realized that I was dealing with some issues, specifically in that situation. It was more towards men. And so oftentimes, I feel like a lot of people, especially in relationships, a lot of our trauma and the things that we deal with stems from our parents. And so, for me in particular, I had some issues when it pertained to my father. So any man that, I was dating or anything like that, there was an issue, because I never took the time to address the real issue, which was with somebody completely different. But when I did get into relationships, I was now attracting what I refused to heal, if that makes sense. So, once I realized that, I was like, oh my God, like, it was like a light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, so I really can become free from this, and I really can do the healing and work that it takes in order to bring about a different outcome, so I no longer attract these type of men or these types of things. It's not even towards the person, it's really, we start to attract what we refuse to heal within ourselves. And so I refused to heal different stuff. And so I was attracting that thing and within a relationship with the person that I was with. And so once I realized that, I'm like, oh my God, girl, listen, girl, you got the keys. You got the keys to unlock the healing you need to be able to move forward. So in the future, you don't have to continue to deal with this. You don't have to continue to be hurt by people. And you don't have to continue to hurt people because you're really hurting inside, because you're not addressing what the real issue is. And so once I, went on my little journey of healing and just really recovering from that, I really was able to gain a new perspective. I really was able to let go of the things that I was holding on to. So now moving forward, when I do decide to get in another relationship, which, you know, will be sooner than later, I don't have to no longer carry the weight and the load that I was carrying in previous relationships. And, you know, I no longer have to attract what I was refusing to deal with, you know, and heal within myself. I now took the time, the needed time. So oftentimes people want to jump right into another relationship and think that that's going to fix, but sometimes you got to sit with yourself and realize that sometimes it's stuff that you have to work on within you. We can blame everybody else, but sometimes it's our own self that's holding us back from the things that we want. It's not hard to get in a relationship. Listen, especially if you look good, you could walk outside and be like, listen, you my boyfriend, you my girlfriend, and y'all together. Like, it could be stuff like that. But if you want a better quality, a high quality relationship, you really have to do the work in order to achieve those things. Like, if you really want the best outcome in that situation. And so that's what I wanted. I didn't want to continue to have to settle for less. You know, I never had been the type to settle for less, but I didn't want to start there. So I knew that I could take the control and really decide that I wanted to do better for myself. I didn't have to settle. I didn't have to stay stuck. I can now do the work that I need to do. A lot of times people don't want to face themselves, but sometimes you got to. In order to do better, you got to get better, you have to do better. And so usually doing better starts with yourself. Like, what can you change within yourself? What can you heal within yourself to start creating better outcomes and attracting better things into your life? Because now that I took the time to heal and recognize what was holding me back, especially in relationship, this is specifically what I'm talking about. Now moving forward, because I now took the time to address and heal from that, I can now step into a new relationship without carrying the weight that I was carrying in, let's say, the last one. You know, it becomes so much freer because now you can look at the new situation as a new situation instead of looking at it as the past and bringing the past with you. You got to let the past go in order to step into your new. Listen, if I'm believing God for a husband, my husband don't got nothing to do with what happened to me in my past or what happened to me in my, childhood. Yes, I think people have this image that we're going to be perfect when we find our husband, when we find our spouse, or, whatever the case may be, which is unrealistic because there's no perfect person, but we can create better versions of ourselves by doing work and doing healing, especially when we get out of relationships, so we don't have to continue to carry so much weight. Some things we will can get healing from as we partner with that person, but a lot of times we can do a lot of work before we even get with our person that God has for us. Because why? We have the tools, we have the same capability to be able to work on ourselves and do better for ourselves and the times that we have for ourselves. Oftentimes people don't take the time to themselves and don't realize how significant it is, but it really is. Because then you start to learn things, then you start to process through things, then you start to work through things, and now you create a different image in your mind. And when you create a different image in your mind, it starts projecting out into the world, and that's how you start getting different results. That's how you start attracting better in your life, better men, better women, better situations, better relationships, just overall, because you did the work for yourself. And so now you know, okay, this is what I can look for. This is what I don't have to settle for. This is what God wants for me. Because why? You now took the work to, first of all, deal with your emotions, deal with your trauma, deal with so many things. And then in that, you should be also building a relationship with God. A relationship is not tied to religion. It's tied to a relationship. That's like me having a relationship with you as like a friend. I'm talking to you as a friend. That's how you should talk to God and explain these things to him. In this process, that was my biggest supporter, the biggest person who helped me work through these things. Because why? Once I came to myself and took the time to recognize what needed to change within me and why And moving forward, how I could not repeat the same thing moving forward. Because I know that God has better for me. It's like we have to realize and recognize for ourselves. Do we want better for ourselves? And are we willing to put in the work to get better? Because oftentimes I think we just think we can get better without having to do better. But can we do better and still receive better? Yes, we can do both. Faith without works is dead. I always say that. And so we can have, God, first of all, desires for us to have better in life. But we have to understand that, and with our faith, it also comes in putting in the work. Like, he can give us and bless us with things at any given moment, but we have to also realize in different situations, we can also play our part and do the work in order to get the things that we want. So, it's a process, it's a journey. That the biggest supporter on my journey has always been God. He has given me, downloaded within me, things to speak over me in order to help with my healing process. He's given me so much revelation. So that's why I encourage you. You don't have to do it on your own. Oftentimes people don't want to do it because they feel like they got to do it on your own. But when you start to have that relationship with God, that's when things can start changing. That's when things can start becoming easier. And it becomes a lifestyle. It doesn't even just stop with, it starts with you wanting to do better, of course, but it becomes a lifestyle. So that's something you continuously do, because we always have to continue to learn. We always have to continue to work and be the best version of ourselves that we can, because there's so much within us that we haven't even discovered. Even at this moment, I've gotten so far in the things that I've done, but I have so much more to discover about myself and things that I could just become and do. There's depths and levels to our lives. And so we just have to start with what we can. This is something I just wanted to share because it's really helped me. But, it's just a process. Thank God I'm free, because you look at situations now and if you would have looked at me a couple of years ago, I was harboring in so much resentment and anger towards different situations in my life. But now to see me, you are like, oh my God, are you sure you went through this? Because you don't look like you went through this. Or I see you talking to this person and it looks like y'all relationship good. And I'm like, yeah. Because why? I did the work. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I stopped throwing a pity party. I stopped whining. I stopped complaining. And I started doing something about it. I started saying I wanted something better for my life. I didn't want to continue to live the way I was living. So just like I can make that decision, so can you. Only you know what you and God know what you've been through. And so that's why he's the best person who can help you, because he will give you the tools you need in order to succeed and break free and become the best version of yourself. So, just think about that. I just wanted to share that. I may go into further detail of this topic maybe later on in future videos, but this is just a short without going into too much detail, but just sharing enough to help encourage you and help uplift you, and know that if I can do it, listen, I only can do things by the grace and strength of God. I can't do things in my own ability, and when you recognize that, you start to live different. And so just recognize that and know that just like I can do it, so can you. So you guys, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.